Welcome. Thank you so much for being here tonight for this really unique webinar. I'm Melissa Rosen, Sharsheret's Director of Training and Education. And tonight you've joined us for Living Waters, Rituals of Resilience and Renewal. We know that cancer is a physical, an emotional, and even spiritual experience. So it only stands to reason that healing from cancer is all three of those things as well. And tonight we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some emotional and some spiritual healing. Our program partners for this webinar played a significant role. Thank you to Ma'ale Hayim, based in Los Angeles, it is an inclusive spiritual space that fosters community building, learning, and wellness with mikvah at its core. Their partnership was the inspiration for this program, and we are so grateful. Mayim Chaim describes itself as a mikveh rooted in ancient tradition, reinvented to serve the Jewish community of today. Mayim Chaim is a long-term Sharsheret partner and shared many resources with us and our presenter today to build tonight's innovative program. In addition, thank you to these additional Sharsheret partners: the Rising Tide Network, Ritual, and Cancer Support Community of Los Angeles and Tower Cancer Magnolia House. I also want to thank our generous sponsors for tonight's program. Their support allows us to maintain a robust schedule of educational and inspirational webinars. Thank you to Daiichi Sankyo and to the Cooperative Agreement 240061 of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. As a reminder, tonight's webinar is being recorded and will be posted on the website alongside a transcript. Participants' faces and names will not be in that recording. But if you'd like to remain private for tonight's program, you have the option to turn off your video and rename yourself. You can also choose to call into the webinar. Instructions on how to do all of those things are now in the chat box. I also want to let you know that we now have closed captioning available. To display live captions, on the bottom bar, click Captions and then Show Captions. You may have noticed that everyone was muted upon entering the Zoom. Please stay muted during this call unless you are specifically asked to unmute. I want to remind you before we get started that Sharsheret is a national not-for-profit cancer support and education organization and does not provide any medical advice or, of course, perform any medical procedures. The information provided by Sharsheret and tonight's speaker is not a substitute for medical advice, and you should not use this information to diagnose or treat a health problem. Of course, if you have any questions that are specific to your medical condition, always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare professional. This evening, we are so excited to have Becca Heisler with us to guide us. Becca is a rabbinical student, a ritualist, and an educator. She has served as a Jewish outdoor educator and guided earth-based rites of passage for youth K-12 and adults of all ages. She is a graduate of Tufts University, of the Urban Adamah Fellowship, and of the Jofi Fellowship. She is currently pursuing, as I said, rabbinic ordination at Hebrew College. In addition, she spent last year as a rabbinic intern at Mayim Chaim and is very familiar with all of their wonderful resources. Before I cede the screen to her, I just want to let you know that tonight's program is a little bit different, a bit more interactive than some of our other webinars. Becca is going to share with us about the healing nature of water, and then we will go into breakout rooms briefly. She's going to provide, before we do, simple instructions to all of us on what to do while we're there. But we're really, while we're there, going to start the basis of a Sharsheret water healing ritual. Based on the conversations you have there and bring back to the main group, that she's going to create and share with us all in a couple of weeks. So Becca, right now the floor is yours. Welcome.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Melissa. And thank you to all of you for being here. I feel really honored to get to spend this time talking with you, learning with you, and hopefully by the end of our time together, having um, gathered some material from this group that's gathered here today to be able to create a ritual and share back with you in the next couple of weeks, like Melissa said. And I really want to center water as healing on this call and center a couple of different rituals. So I want to talk about water in Jewish tradition, broadly speaking, sort of where and when do we talk about water, interact with water, tell stories about water, um, use water in our rituals. Also, what are some of the qualities of water in nature that we can call on as support for emotional and spiritual healing? And also, then to look together at some of the resources that Mime has created as sort of a jumping off point to creating a ritual altogether. Um, so we're going to get started, and feel free to ask questions in the chat or to raise your hand on the like on the Zoom with the Zoom hand raise function, and I'll try to keep up with them. So just give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm seeing a nod. I think everyone can see my screen now. So living waters, rituals of resilience and renewal. That's what we're here to talk about. So these guiding questions, what can we learn about water in Jewish stories and Jewish rituals and in the world around us? I'm going to not go into each individual story or ritual like so in depth. Some of them might already be familiar to you. Some of them might not be familiar. I wish I could tell all of these stories one by one and we could spend, hours learning together. But instead, we're just going to sort of touch in on each of them, excuse me, briefly. And I can send out more resources next week for you to learn more and read more if you want to. So what can we learn about water in Jewish stories, Jewish rituals, and in nature and the world around us as a basis for bringing them into our own practices for emotional and spiritual healing and well-being? I wanted to bring in a few of my favorite stories from Torah. The first is the primordial waters that are there at the beginning of the story of creation in the first book of the Torah, the first images that we get of the world before it's created. The thing that's there before creation is water. Um, it's water and wind and holiness. That's there at the beginning. And so anytime we're interacting with water in Jewish ritual, I think it carries some of that resonance with this image of the original waters, with the waters at the beginning of the world, the beginning of the universe, the waters that were there before anything else, and the waters that also will exist through time and space and history and evolution of this planet and our people. And the waters just continue to accompany. We have the story of Noah and the flood, where water is really brought in as a powerful force of both destruction and also creation, like creation of a new world, of starting over. And so from this story of Noah, we see that water has the potential to be a force for rebirth, recreation. And anytime we're interacting with water in ritual, we can feel that resonance of recreation of new possibilities, of new beginnings. Um, and one of the most known images of water in the Torah is in the book of Exodus, the splitting of the sea and the Israelites crossing to freedom, a moment of transformation for our people. Um, and for them as individuals and as a collective, of moving from narrowness, constriction, persecution to freedom, liberation, um, opening to new possibilities. And so water also carries that quality of transformation. When the Israelites are wandering in the desert, after they cross through that split sea, they're sustained by Miriam's well that moves with them through the desert and gives them nourishment, sustenance, keeps them alive through that time of uncertainty, through a time of scarcity in a place that's unfamiliar, unknown. And so the water, the well, is this sort of familiar force that travels with them and sustains them. And lastly, the last thing I want to highlight is in the book of Leviticus, we see Mayim Chaim, living waters, as a source of purification, of actual cleansing. Um, that's really a cleansing of both body and also spirit, really, really powerfully. So. And so just looking at Torah, just looking at 5 brief snapshots in Torah, we see that water carries this story of creation, of recreation, of transformation, of sustenance, nourishment, and also as purification, as change. Um, and Yeah, I want to bring in a few rituals, times when we're not just, reading about, thinking about water as a character in a story, but times when we might actually be interacting with water in ritual. And these are a few of my favorite examples. The first one is mikveh, or ritual immersion. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a couple of minutes. And the second is hand washing, washing hands ritually. Many people do this on Shabbat before a meal, or some people also do it first thing in the morning. Um, the third one is dipping parsley in salt water on Passover, having a bowl of water on the Seder table, accompanying us through that whole journey. Alongside Miriam's cup. This is a practice many people have adopted, of having next to Elijah's cup of wine on the Seder table, having Miriam's cup full of water on the table, as well as a reminder, back to the Passover story, and the story of our people's history, move to freedom, that the water was a big part of that, um, of what made that possible. And the last ritual that I want to mention is tashlich, a practice traditionally, at least in Ashkenazi communities, was involved casting bread into water on Rosh Hashanah. Many people have also adopted a practice that's a little, better for the ecosystem, a little better for the wildlife that might live in the water, of casting stones or leaves into the water as a practice of release, of letting go of anything that they might not want to carry into the new year. So hearing these examples of stories and of rituals, and also all the stories that you might be thinking of that I didn't mention, other rituals that we might practice that I didn't mention, I want to pause for a moment and give folks a chance to weigh in a little bit. I think writing in the chat, or if you'd like to speak out loud, you can raise your hand. But I would love to hear what themes emerge for you around water in Jewish tradition, ways we can see it, think about it. What does it symbolize? What does it represent? What are sort of like a couple like words or themes that come through for you? And you can just write them right in the chat. Oh, there we go. Purification, renewal. Yeah, tashlich has always been important to me. Cleansing, renewal, happy place. Yeah. We have another moment. Safety. Miriam's ability to lead the community with the well. Yeah, water is part of that leading. Yeah, really beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. So with those themes emerging from our own traditions, practices, stories, I also want to take a moment to think about the actual substance of water. What does it carry? Peace. Thank you. So thinking for a moment about qualities of water in nature. Um, Water is cleansing, physically. It purifies the air when it rains. It cleans our bodies when we're dirty. Um, it also, in addition to being part of our story of creation, water is also part of ongoing everyday creation in the world around us. It feeds plants and animals. It feeds us. Um, Water is life and carries that life force through ecosystems, through landscapes, through cities, through people. Um, and water also carries a quality of sort of awe-inspiring possibility, not just for creation, but also for destruction. And I feel like in any conversation about the power of water, that also feels like part of it that, yeah, brings in a feeling of awe for me. And I want to center that feeling of awe, um, especially thinking about this week, the flooding in Texas, and just wanting to take a moment to take a breath and send a lot of love to folks who are grieving and healing there as well. Um, Also thinking about the quality of flowing, of following gravity, the quality of cycling, where water is sometimes underground, under our feet where we can't see it. Sometimes it's invisible in the air around us. Sometimes it's raining down on us in torrents and sheets and brings lightning and thunder and is really present. And sometimes we're in a drought and we don't feel it. So just water has this quality of cycling, of change, of being close and then far, of being present and not present, which is a powerful quality to be able to bring into ritual. Um, and the last I want to highlight is just that water carries beauty with it and brings beauty in the form of ocean waves, of rainbows, of snowflakes and ice that freezes in really beautiful patterns. So I just want to uplift that as well. And I want to kind of take all those themes, all those images, and look towards rituals right now, a little more in depth. So, um, I first want to talk about mikveh briefly. Like Melissa mentioned, I worked at at Maim Chaim this year at the mikveh in Newton, Massachusetts. And was really honored to get to witness the mikveh as a site of a lot of really beautiful, really healing, powerful rituals. And um, though I wish I could say there's a mikveh everywhere that anybody can go to, there isn't a mikveh everywhere. But I'll send out some resources also after the call where you can look and see where there might be a local mikveh that you can access and go to as a place for healing. And the way that mikveh ritual has been reimagined and reinterpreted as a way of healing has been really powerful. Mikveh is a ritual that goes all the way back to Torah and has traveled with Jewish people all across the world. Basically, anywhere that Jews have lived over time, you can find a mikveh. Recently, there was a new mikveh discovered in Italy. I don't remember exactly where, but basically, like they're everywhere. And it's a pretty simple ritual, and just involves a gathering of waters. There's a lot of sort of specific, like specifications in halachic literature in the texts of Jewish law, that give specifics about sort of what kind of water needs to be in that gathering of waters. It involves always some living waters, some mayim chaim, that comes in from a natural source, even if the mikvah is indoors. So when you immerse in that water, you're always having a spark of water that like recently came down from the sky, was gathered as it, flowed downhill, which is a powerful part of the ritual. And it involves full body immersion. It involves blessing and intention, and also a lot of physical and spiritual preparation. And I wanted to share Mayim Chaim's ritual for healing. It's not specifically healing for people who are facing cancer, but healing in all kinds of ways from all kinds of situations, both physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. But this also gives sort of some of the framework of the ritual that we'll work with. So each immersion has a few different parts. There are 3 blessings that go with it, and often an opening kavanah, an opening intention. And we'll use a similar framework when we look at the hand washing ritual. I'm not going to read every word here, but I can have I'll send out these slides as well afterwards. But I will read this opening intention, just to bring us into what it might look like, feel like to enter into the water as a place for healing, for emotional and spiritual support, as part of the healing journey. I come here today in hope of finding healing for my body, my heart, and my soul. Take a minute to reflect on what brought you to the mikveh today. As I prepare my body to enter the mikveh, I also prepare my mind and spirit to release the past and allow pain to dissolve. And each immersion, sorry about that. Each immersion also carries with it a different blessing and intention. So the second immersion, and it's a place where there can be both structure and blessings that one can read out loud, and also a place to bring in what might be on your heart, the prayers of your heart and your soul that you want to bring forward. With the blessing, compassionate God, healer of my body, Healer of my soul, heal me. Strengthen my ailing body, soothe my aching heart, mend my shattered existence, make me whole. And the third immersion looks forward. This one looks towards gratitude. Blessed is the Eternal One who gives me the ability to remember those blessings which are still mine to affirm, and the strength to arise anew each day. A reminder of, of the blessings that are still surrounding even in the process of healing and in the pain that might accompany it. And now I want to bring us into hand washing ritual, which is similar to mikvah in a lot of ways, but also can be much more accessible. It can be any kind of water. It can be special water that you've gathered from a place that's really important to you. Maybe you bring a jar to the lake or the river on a walk, or a loved one brings you special water. It could also just be any kind of water, just straight out of the tap, out of a water bottle. And although in mikvah, there's a lot of emphasis on those living waters, on the mayim chaim, in hand washing rituals, my mentor and friend Sarah Chandler likes to say all waters are holy. Any water that you bring into a hand washing ritual can be holy and can help to uplift a moment. And the preparation for hand washing is also simple. It can be as easy as just removing rings or bracelets and leaving your hands bare, or as bare as they can be, to have the water flow over them. And using a vessel, usually, there are like special hand washing cups that have handles so you can pour water over each hand. And there also are, you can just use like a mug or a regular cup. But it slows down the flow and really helps you to be present with the sensation of water flowing over your hands. And I see it and I think about it as a practice that brings comfort and intention and spiritual uplift, connection, and can also be a reminder of resilience, of what's possible, of presence. And this is sort of our jumping off point for creating a hand washing ritual together. And the reason why I chose hand washing rather than a mikveh, like I said, is that it's really accessible. You can do it anytime. Like I said earlier, hand washing is traditionally practiced either before a meal, typically a meal that has bread, but it could be before any meal. And also first thing in the morning as part of a ritual to awaken into the day, and can also be a ritual that's practiced before Shabbat. And in creating a hand washing ritual, it's something that can sort of infuse that intention and meaning into something you might already be practicing. Or it can be a way to put words and bring more intention to different parts of your day that can help to serve as a support. Um, and so this is an example also from Mayim Chaim. Just also want to offer a lot of gratitude to the folks at Mayim Chaim who wrote these beautiful ceremonies, and I feel grateful to be able to work with this group today to add to this ritual and to create it tailored to really what is on the minds and hearts of the folks who are here I was going to say in the room, in the Zoom room today, and what you're bringing and what you're needing and wanting to call in these ritual moments. And I think about it as having three parts. The stories in Torah with water often have a really strong like before and after. And I also don't want to lose the middle, the presence. But thinking about there being three parts, the preparation for the ritual, the presence of the moment of letting water be really, even though if your whole body isn't immersed in the water, having an immersive moment of connecting with the water ritually, and then a moment of looking forward and calling in what you might need, strength, hope, gratitude, blessing, support. Um, and I'll find out from all of you what comes to mind with those questions. So, excuse me. There's a moment of preparation, and this one is kind of general but gives an idea of what might be held. I'm present and open to blank, and hopefully in having conversations together you'll be able to help to fill in the blank of I'm present and open to blank. I am um yeah, coming in with like a certain intention. As I pour water over my hands, I call to mind the holiness of my body. Um, and after that, hand washing is a moment of affirmation, a moment of presence, a moment of, here I am. And then these are some optional readings that are part of the ritual that my Chaim created. And here there's a prayer for gratitude and a prayer for comfort and strength. And based on what you all talk about, what you all bring back, we'll be able to create these together, inspire these prayers together. I just want to pause and ask, are there any questions? I just offered a lot of teaching and just want to make sure there aren't more questions that folks are carrying and want to bring forward. You can write them in the chat or ask them out loud. Okay, great. So we're gonna take a little while in breakout rooms right now. I think somewhere, let's say 7 to 10 minutes, um, looking at these questions. So first I want to take a moment before we go to think about a moment where this ritual might serve you. Is it every day when you wake up? Is it bringing intention to a practice you already have of washing your hands on Shabbat every week? Is there another part of your daily routine or weekly routine or monthly routine um, where you could imagine bringing in the water with those qualities of healing, cleansing, peace, looking at what you all wrote, expansion, fluidity, movement, beauty, life, safety, happy place, renewal, cleansing, purification. A time when calling in those qualities might be really supportive to you. And in that moment, I wonder, what might you want to let go of? What might you want to focus on, to be present with, to sort of like call to the center of your attention that might support you? And what do you want to call in or look towards? And these are the three questions that I want to send you off into those breakout rooms to discuss. What do I want to let go of? What do I want to focus on to be present with? What do I want to call in or look towards? And asking this, honoring the fact that all of you who are on this call tonight are bringing really different experiences. You might be at really different points in your journeys. You might be feeling really different from each other. There might be different support or different guidance that you might need. And so the hope is to get to open up as many ideas as possible. And in the breakout rooms, you'll each get a chance to share and talk through your ideas. Um, and then my task, my challenge is to be able to weave them all together and be able to offer something back to you, to reflect this back to you in a ritual that you might use. Um, Thank you, Melissa, for writing that in the chat. Um, so yeah, we'll take 7 to 10 minutes in breakout rooms, and we'll give you a little heads up um, before coming back, and then we'll have time to share back. And so there's no obligation to share with the whole group, but there will be space to share with the whole group, um, and to be able to bring all of your ideas together.
Becca, can I just add a
Yeah,
couple of details here?
yeah,
So
please.
everybody's going to be divided into small groups. You'll be placed in small groups. There'll be a Sharsheret staff person with each group to take notes. And this is just a brainstorming session. Feel free to share. Feel free to listen, whatever it is. But we'll work to answer those questions together. And then we get to leave Becca with homework when all is said and done. So we're taking the moment now to shift into groups, and we're going to shoot for 7 minutes.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm just, yeah, curious to get to hear a little bit from anybody who wants to share about what came forward in your conversations together. And we're going to talk through the questions one by one. My only ask is that if you want to share something that someone else said, if you don't like explicitly have permission from them to share the idea, but not necessarily to say, so and so said this, um, unless they've given you permission to do that. And I see, thank you, Sharon, for throwing out our first answer to that first question. What do I want to let go of? Letting go of expectations. Thank you. And folks can feel free if you want to unmute, or if you want to write in the chat. Both are welcome. And we'll take a couple minutes with each one. Letting go of expectations. Let go of fear of recurrence. Let go of fear. Let go of stress. Let go of anger. Does anybody have anything that they want to share um, out loud, that they want to like speak to a little deeper? Just want to give a couple minutes for that. Letting go of the walls I built. Letting go of frustration. Someone mentioned the sound of water alone helps to reduce anxiety. Yeah, hoping to come into the present. Letting go of sadness from October 7th and this past week's floods. Letting go of hurry, of too busy, of overstimulated, of not relaxed. Giving a kavanah to water. Yeah, bringing yourself into presence. These are really beautiful. It's like powerful to hear both the resonances and also the differences between them. Um, Idea of safe harbor and the water idea. Letting go of what other people think. Really, really beautiful. And I want to move into the next question, what do I want to focus on? What do I want to be present with? What do I want to focus on? What do I want to be present with? What came up for you in your conversations? Um, yeah, I want to focus on and be present with nature, with peace. I want to be present with achieving an inner calm. Yeah, welcoming in that calm, focusing on the waves, on the sounds, on the experience. Being present with love, hope, and health. Focusing on and holding on to those who are supportive and helpful during cancer experiences. Yeah, focusing on the helpers, the caregivers, the people who are supporting you. Focus on getting closer to God. Focusing on the present and not stressing about the future. Mhm. And then weaving in some of what came up for you all in the third question. What do I want to call in? What do I want to look towards? How do I want to orient to what comes next? Looking towards enjoying moments in every day. Looking towards intentional thought. Looking towards relief from pain, even if temporary. Mhm. Looking toward the future and embracing it, whatever it looks like. Wanting to build bridges, build community. Yeah, calling in, feeling good. Holding on to positive associations with and memories of water. Mhm. Take another minute or so and um, anything else you want to share, answers to any of the questions that you might want to bring forward, bring together, weave into this conversation. Yeah, ability to stay focused. One suggested a group road trip to the beach or to the lake. Love that. The only thing better than being with the water is being with the water and other people you love and connecting with other people on the water. Yeah, holding on to possibilities, infinite number of possibilities. Beautiful.
No one had mentioned this, but the Dead Sea and just flow
Mm,
like
mm.
it's it's just so relaxing and yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Lois. Yeah, the feeling of like being held, being weightless, being able to let go and be buoyant. Yeah, thank you. Mm, yeah, but also it stings as it holds you, kind of like life. Mm. An observation, the rituals you shared distinguish between before and after, and that theme carried into your discussion. Yeah, beautiful. I think we're coming to our time and just want to offer so much gratitude to everything that everybody shared and um I'm receiving it all with such an open heart and just a lot of care for all of you and awe also at the ways that you've opened to this conversation and what you've offered to me to be able to take in and offer back to you. So thank you all so much.
Becca, thank you so much. You gave us so much to think about, and you gave us like an alternative way to do that thinking.
Mm.
I am very much looking forward to what you come up with for all of us to try. And the follow-up email, you'll get two this time instead of one. In less than a week, you'll get a copy of the video as well as a transcript, and some resources that Becca is going to share. And then about a week after that, we will share this newly created ritual that really comes from everything that you've done tonight, that you've thought of. Thank you for being so generous with your ideas and your emotions. And we hope you find this ritual meaningful. And as we wrap up, I want to thank this evening's partners once again, Ma'ale Hayim, Mayim Chaim, the Rising Tide Network, Ritual Well, and Cancer Support Community of Los Angeles, and Tower Cancer Magnolia House. And of course, we are grateful for our sponsors for the program, Daiichi Sankyo and the Cooperative Agreement 240061 of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. I see that my colleague Jenna just put the survey in the chat box. Please take a moment to fill it out. It is a simple 3-question survey, but will help us as we continue to plan some of these spirituality programs. I do want to mention 2 exciting programs that are coming up in the next month or so that may be of particular interest. So on Friday, August 15th, a little more than a week from now, we'll host our, a month from now, we'll host our quarterly Shalom Shabbat program. Simply a chance to relax and reset together in the face of our challenges, whatever they may be. And then on Friday, September 26th, we've scheduled our annual virtual Tashlich. And this year we're going to be joined by a special guest, Rabbi Jason Weiner, who will be speaking about personal resilience during the high holidays. The registration for both of these events will be posted in the next week or so, and we will include them in the links to register in the follow-up emails. Finally, please remember that Sharsheret is here for you, here for your loved ones. Sharsheret provides, as you know, emotional support, mental health counseling, and other programs designed to help you navigate through your cancer experience. All are completely free, completely confidential. And our contact information is in the chat right now. As we end our time together, we're going to put that evaluation link in one more time. I want to thank you all for being here. Thank you, Becca, once again. And we look forward to being in touch. Have a wonderful evening and good night.